Hello solo leveling fans and welcome back to a new video. Real quick before we get started, I just wanted to shout out today's comment of the video, and it's this one right here. Guys, there will always be a place for you in our community, and there will always be a place for you to join our Discord server. All you have to do, it doesn't matter, like honestly it doesn't matter if you just started playing, if you are a light spender, if you're free to play, a whale, you're level 85, you're level 1, there will be a place for you in our community in one of our guilds. And all you have to do to join is basically go to our Discord server, as you can see here. And with that being said, guys, look at all of this. We have a very lovely community. As you can see here, we are very active. We talk a lot, we discuss the things about the game and all that good stuff. We help each other out. We also have game tech here helping each other out with builds and guides and all that good stuff. We have huge announcements to make, obviously. Redeem codes, go ahead and redeem that if you guys haven't already. We have a Q&A section. We have voting for polls, different roles, all that good stuff. But the thing that you're interested in the most is guild applications. Now, to apply for the guild here, you will see a notice at the bottom to apply for joining the guild. Read the things needed in guild apply, which is these ones right here, the small form. Go ahead and fill that and then attach everything together in the application channel, which is literally right underneath it. Just click there and post your application. And as you can see here, after each application I will respond with a thank you to let you know that I've seen your application. These do take time to review, obviously, but at the end of the day, I just want to say thank you to everyone that showed interest in joining our guild. And if you still have an interest to join our guild, all you have to do is just join the Discord server and follow the steps that I just said. Okay guys, so today's topic is going to be about the best SSR hunter weapons, and we are going to be talking about which weapons should you be going for, which ones should you be crafting, duplicating, which hunter weapons are absolutely insane, which ones are like meh, you can skip those, you know. And because at the end of the day, you only have a limited number of materials when it comes down to crafting these weapons. Like, these weapons designs are very hard to come by, obviously, and at the end of the day, you only have limited resources to be spending on your hunter weapons. So it's very important to be spending them right and to choose the right weapon to be crafting at the time of your basically crafting this. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to be talking about here is a set of rules that you guys should keep in mind, and those hopefully will help you decide which ones you should be going for. And the first rule here is going to be always prioritizing DPS. Now, some DPS weapons are way better than any other weapons, starting off with this insane weapon here from Melee's. And as you can see here, it charges the user power gauge by 10% when the user enters the stage, so that's your ultimate gauge right there, and it increases your critical hit rate and critical hit damage for both your abilities by 5%, and that's at level 1. So yeah, that's definitely strong, and that's definitely a weapon you should be going for, not because she's a new character, but because she does an insane amount of damage using that weapon right there. Now, another weapon that you should definitely be considering, and I'm naming these from highest to lowest, and the second weapon that you should be going for DPS is obviously going to be Alicia's. Alicia's weapon is absolutely insane. She's currently, I think, one of the top DPS, if not the top DPS. It's really hard between her and Melee. I think she wins when it comes down to things like DPSing in general, but Melee is very strong when it comes down to wind damage and all that good stuff and assassination. So yeah, that is definitely another weapon that you should definitely be going for. Alicia's weapon here, as you can see, it increases her core attack damage by 10%, and when the ice body armor effect activates, it increases the water damage dealt by 5% for 20 seconds. Absolutely crazy stuff. 10 out of 10 would recommend this weapon. It will definitely help you out a ton, and Alicia as a unit will help you out a ton. If you don't have her already, please go ahead and pull for her from the custom banner. It will be a game changer for you. Now, moving on to a third weapon here is going to be Cha. Cha is arguably top 3 DPS at the moment, and her weapon is absolutely insane because look at this. It increases the user basic skill damage by 5%. When the user uses a basic skill, it increases critical hit damage by 2% for 12 seconds, stacking up to 6 times. So that's another 12% when it comes down to her critical hit damage. And in my opinion, again, she is one of the best units to be crafting a weapon for, because her DPS goes insane. Again, obviously not as Melee's and Alicia's, but she can definitely be there in the top 3 spots. She's definitely one of the top 3 DPSs at the moment. So yeah, that's definitely another weapon you go for. Now, these next 3 are very situational picks, and I think The Yosoyon's weapon is one of a kind because it focuses on defense pen, but by no means is the weapon bad. If anything, it's actually absolutely crazy because look at this. Again, it increases the defense pen by 4%, increasing the damage of her core attack, her 2 abilities by 8%. And again, that is at level 1. Max level, it goes all the way up to 24%, with the standard 15% coming from the dimensional advancement. So yeah, guys, all the DPS, what I'm trying to say is the DPS units are definitely the way to go when it comes down to spending your early resources if you haven't crafted any of those yet. If you have and you have focused your DPS, then make sure to go for Meirei, Alicia, Cha, and then you can go for Yosoyon. And then the last 2 DPS characters here, Bake and Choi, they are good, but they're not as crazy as the units I just mentioned earlier. They're very niche, they're very they're very situational picks, I should say, and you could definitely do better with the units I mentioned earlier, because they're so meta right now. All these units that I mentioned earlier, like Cha, Alicia, and Mary, they're all meta, and you definitely need their weapons, and you need to make them strong for whatever content that is coming ahead. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes down to our first rule and focusing on DPS. Now the second rule is going to be duplicates. Okay. Now, duplicates is a very touchy subject. Why? Because there will be a lot of people that tell you to go for new weapons since you don't have new weapons. So, for example, if I have Meirei's weapon and I don't have Yosoyon's weapon, should I go for a duplicate or should I go for Yosoyon's? The simple answer to that is go for Yosoyon's, basically and simply because that will just make Yosoyon more useful, and you already own the weapon when it comes down to Meirei, right? Now, when should you be crafting a duplicate over a new weapon is if the unit is of higher value. So for example, let's say you have Meirei here and she is at A1, while let's say, I don't know, Libora, for example, doesn't have a weapon, and your Meirei is currently meta, obviously because of Vulcan, all the new Encore and Instance dungeons, the Battlefield of Trials. That is when you should be focusing on Meirei and not Libora's weapon, since Libora has like very limited use at the minute, and Meirei is very, very strong. But with that being said, guys, if this unit right here is competing with another meta unit, so for example Cha, you should definitely be going for Cha's weapon over another duplicate copy for Meirei right here. So keep that in mind while you're duplicating your weapons, because it's very, very important, and it will definitely help out a ton when it comes down to gaining more usefulness out of these weapons. So yeah, that was it for duplication. Third rule I'm going to be talking about here is pay very, very good and very close attention to your supports. Supports are the units that basically enable your team. There are some supports that are better than others, just like I mentioned here. So for example, Min, he's one of the greatest supports, and his weapon is by far one of the best support weapons in the game. As you can see here, it increases the user HP by 2.5%, which is how Min deals damage. Obviously, he's a HP scaler, but when the user uses Heavenly Blessing, which is one of his abilities, the user and the team members' damage dealt increases by 4% for 16 seconds. So yeah, great stuff here. Definitely go for Min's weapon. If you are not going for Min's weapon, you are missing out on a ton. That is 4% at level 1, and at maximum level with dimensional advancement 16%, and a bonus 15% right here, as you can see. So yeah, guys, definitely some good stuff to be going for here when it comes down to Min and the supports. Another support unit that I'm going to be talking about here that is obviously worthwhile is Mei Lin, because Mei Lin, again, she is another buffer to the team, and she's currently very, very meta, especially when it comes down to Workshop of Brilliant Light. A lot of people have been struggling with that. She is the answer to all your problems, especially at that shield section. She removes shields with her abilities. She's absolutely great. But look at this, when the user uses Side Whip, again, it's one of her abilities, it increases the damage of team member with the highest attack by 1% per 2000 HP or max HP for 12 seconds, and max damage increases rate by 6%, while also decreasing her ultimate cooldown skill by 5%. And again, that is at level 1. So a bunch of stats. You lower the cooldown of your ultimate, you buff your strongest hunter's attack, you increase the damage rate by 6%, and it's all just off of level 1. So yeah, this weapon again is a great weapon to be going for, and you definitely need it for more than just the Workshop of Brilliant Light. In general, it's a great buffer when it comes down to buffing your teammates. Now, another support that I'm going to be talking about here is obviously going to be our girl Libora. Libora is not the strongest support currently in the meta. By no means is she weak. She's a solid unit, do not get me wrong. But again, the dark element has not been like seeing a lot of content or seeing a lot of buffs or changes. So she's definitely not one of the strongest unit. I guess you can craft her one copy when it comes down to her weapon and just leave it at that if you own her. I wouldn't focus on her too much. I wouldn't worry about her too much, and that is simply because there are more meta units right now like Min and Mei Lin here that definitely need much more attention and much more focus with all the content that we receive in the game. So yeah, that's another thing that we're going to be talking about, right? The last thing, or the last rule I'm going to be talking about, is obviously the one rule I haven't talked about yet, which is your breakers here. Now, your breakers are absolutely necessary for you to take care of. Again, that is because some of these are very, very strong when it comes down to their own respective role. Now, Bake here is a great breaker, but honestly, he's unrivaled when it comes down to breaking. But Jiwoo here is another great breaker, especially when it comes down to the Workshop of Brilliant Light. She is going to be your core breaker when it comes down to that event right there, and that is simply because of her weapon. Her weapon just increases her critical hit damage by 5% when the user uses Water Dragon Rush, Lightning Kick, Heavy Attack, Water Dragon, all these abilities basically, and it increases the critical hit damage by 1%, stacking up to 20 times. Again, so she gains crit off of her breaking, and she's absolutely crazy when it comes down with it. That goes all the way up to 6%, and it stacks up to 20 times here. So some pretty crazy numbers when it comes down to Jiwoo's weapon, as you can see here, and she's very strong when it comes down to your Workshop of Brilliant Light. She's very strong in the Cerberus fight, and she's going to be a core unit moving forward into the game. Plus, she is supposedly a free-to-play unit, especially with the release when they had her event come around. And yeah, definitely make sure to be looking after her weapon, because her weapon is very strong. Again, Bake is one of the best breakers, if not the best breaker in the game in my opinion. He's also a great unit. Make sure to have his weapon as well, at least one copy. And I'm talking about like at least one copy or 2 copies of these. Like for Jiwoo, I would say at least 2 copies, because again, her weapon is absolutely insane. It also adds crit to her kit as well, so it's very strong. Now, if we take a look at Bakes here, it's all right. Really, it's not really anything crazy. The only thing you're going to get out of it is increasing the user's defense by 5%, which is kind of buffing his damage overall. So yeah, it's not the best, honestly. I'll just get the 1 copy from his weapon and be satisfied with that. Now, another unit that's seen a lot of buffs recently, and that's going to be your boy Woo Jin-chul. Again, he's a great breaker. You can use him in multiple content that has been released, because he's a wind type hunter here, and he is truly insane. Look at all of this. Look at all of this when it comes down to his weapon. The user ignores, straight up, the user attacks ignores 2% of the target's defense, and when mediation of power is used, it increases the damage dealt to the target by 5% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 times, which is 15%. Now, when the enemy enters the break state, all the enemy member wind damage increases by 4%, excluding the user of this skill. So everybody, so if you're running a full wind team, for example, or 2 wind teams, for example, Mayray and this guy, and like maybe Alicia, you'll have insane net damage numbers, especially after you use this at the break state. Now, to check out these numbers at the maximum potential here, it goes all the way up to 12%, obviously, and it increases the user attack, defense, and HP by 15% from the dimensional advancement, as you can see here. So that is obviously another great weapon to be going for. And of course, you cannot forget, and I cannot stress how important it is to go for Emma. Emma's weapon is by far the best when it comes down to it's kind of a mixture of both, because look at this, right? It increases the damage dealt to targets affected by the break effect by 4%. So straight up, when you're doing your break damage, it's going to be insane, because that is 4%. But when the heat absorption activates, the user damage dealt increases by 1.5, and it stacks to 4 times. So again, she stacks up those damage numbers very rapidly, and she's not only a breaker, but she also does some great damage. She is a scaler when it comes down to HP. That's how she scales and she does her damage. So you got a tank, you got a breaker, you got the girl goes all the way up to 12% when it comes down to her break effectiveness, and that 1.5% stacks up to 15 times instead of the 4 times. So pretty crazy numbers when it comes down to Emma here, and her weapon is one of the best when it comes down to the breakers. So to sum things up, basically we have our 3 golden rules. 1, focus on your DPS, and these are the best DPS units: Meilin, Mei, Yosoyeon, Alicia, and Cha. Focus on these weapons. Then when it comes down to your duplicates, focus on event weapons. Obviously go for as many of those as you want. It doesn't matter as long as you can get get the weapon. Go for it, craft it, it's absolutely free. And then you can go for the you can go for the priority units afterwards, such as the DPS, then the supports, then the breakers. And then the last one is taking good care of your supports, because support weapons provide more than just one buff, and it can obviously affect multiple team members instead of just one. And then the breakers, I would obviously prioritize, and in this order I would put Jiwoo's weapon, then Emma's, then Wu, and then obviously your boy Bake. I hope that helped, guys, and you found this guide helpful. If you did and enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy leveling. Peace.